So we have Reaper here, but this thought process falls under every single character when you guys do it. You have to understand what your character actually requires, right? The main goal for every single character is crit and swiftness, right? And then there's spec, right? And spec impacts what? Usually damage, identity related. So these are supposed to be stats that are important. If you're going to use Keen Blunt or Raid Captain, the requirement, you have your requirement in order for this engraving to be viable or efficient. Another important thing here is what impacts crit rate. Adrenaline impacts crit rate, right? It gives 15% total with full stacks. And Precision Dagger gives 20%, but it decreases the crit damage, right? Relic gears too. Entropy gives 20%. And then you have Hallucination, gives 25% crit rate. And you have synergies too, like Gunslinger or something. 10% to 18%. You have your default crit rate at 56 at 2%, correct? If I go into Rage mode, what it does is Rage mode by passive, it gives me 15% crit. So I have 17% crit. I need to get how much? 43% more to get Keen Blunt viable. How can I do that? So I have two choices. If I have 500 crit rate, a 500 crit combat stat, you get about 17.89. Or it's a relic set, okay? Or Adrenaline level 3 equals 15. So you have 35 here. Little did I know, Reaper's skill is built-in crit. As in, if I at tripod level 1, you have 15% chance to crit. So you have 15% extra crit on the skill itself. If I have 50% total, this skill in general is going to have 65% crit, which it works. I don't need to have this crit combat stat to cover it up. This Keen Blunt is 18%, but I can do something else. What if this is a Raid Captain? Let's see if the Rage mode provides additional movement speed as well. So it's at 110%. So it gives me 10% movement speed. Since it gives me 10% movement speed, what if I have 1000 swiftness? How much does it give? It gives me 17.17. Most Reapers go spec swiftness. And the reason why, because spec increases my skill on the red skill. And swiftness is obviously cooldown and attack speeds. And you need to be pretty fast with Reaper. So if I have 117.17 plus spec equals plus 10% with Rage mode. And then you get another 10% from Relic set Yearning. This is your support set. All supports go this. Plus 10 plus 10. That's 137%. I need 3 more. So 1000 swiftness is actually not that high. Usually if you get the full relic set with decent quality, it'll be like 1050-ish. That'll be like 119.41. That means you have enough. You can get the full effectiveness of Raid Captain if you want to. So if I want to use Keen Blunt, I gotta make sure I have 60%. If I want to use Raid Captain, I gotta make sure my movement speed cap is going to be 140%. There's a condition to this. A support needs to be in the party, and I gotta be in the Rage mode and all that stuff. I don't need to waste my crit combat stat on the Reaper because she already gives passive crit on a lot of things. Therefore, what most people do in the Korean server, they go half and half. You go half spec, half swift. You maximize damage on your red skill, you get the most cooldown advantage out of from swift, which is 19%. Then you have an option to go Raid Captain or Keen Blunt, right? If I want to go Keen Blunt, I will need to cover that up with Adrenaline. If you're going Keen Blunt pairs well with Adrenaline. Raid Captain pairs well with Spirit of Absorption because Spirit of Absorption gives 15% movement speed if you max it out. Let's summarize again. First point. In Trixion, you figure out what your character delivers. It seems like Reaper delivers additional crit rate when she transforms. Her identity gauge, her default setting provides extra crit rate. Her skill gives extra crit rate if you increase the tripod even more crit rate. 2, it seems like she needs a lot of cooldown to be viable. It seems like she also needs spec to increase her damage on her red skills. And you make your decision on, okay, then if that is the case, I'm going to put half and half because she doesn't really need crit as a stat. You test it out by simulating an Trixian, and then you make your decision what is your combat stat is going to be. So the second point of thought process goes to this. Okay, now that I figured out what stats I'm going to bring, so a better option would be something like Grudge, Raid Captain, right? Why Raid Captain? I have 119% already. If I party with proper support that has a Yearning set, it's going to be 129%. And if I transform, it's going to be 139%. If I have Raid Captain, I will have 17.55% increase in damage by just having that engraving. And going back to spec builds too. If someone is going high spec, you go something like 1600 spec, and you have a choice between crit or swiftness. Why do they do that? This is a good example we talked about a while ago for Shadowhunter. You go 500 crit is 70.89% crit rate. Then you go Spirit Absorption to cover up. Spirit Absorption to cover up your lack of movement speed. You get 70% crit rate. You get about 18% crit rate covered with the combat stat, and then you cover your movement speed up with 15% with Spirit Absorption. What does that mean? I can use both Keen Blunt and Raid Captain. Now you ask this question: can I do it backwards? Yeah. Check this out. If you do 500 Swift instead and get Adrenaline 3, it's literally the same thing. Now the Swiftness gives you about 8%. It's a little bit lower, but you get the cooldown too. And since you don't have the crit, you have 15% crit covered from Adrenaline. So you have a choice in between. That's why there's no right or wrong, because everyone does it differently. In this particular video, I'm not going Raid Captain. Why? Because I don't have a legendary Raid Captain. I have legendary Cursed Reapers don't go legendary Cursed because they're squishy as fuck, but I have no choice. If I have a legendary engraving, I can save a lot of money, and I will explain that later. So I'm going to build half and half like this: Grudge, Cursed, Keen Blunt, and I want Adrenaline level 2, and Master of Ambush, because Master of Ambush is important, and then level 1 Thirst. Why level 1 Thirst? You can get level 3 Thirst as well, but if you read Thirst, at level 1 it gives 12% attack damage, and level 3 gives 25% attack damage. If I go level 2, I increase in damage 6%, but what's the point of doing that if I can have something else, like Adrenaline, that can give me damage and crit rate? So you kind of balance that out, because some engravings are better efficient at level 1. And the best examples are Peacemaker, Combat Readiness, and Enhanced Weapon for Deadeye. There are something like that, but you just need to read it. But this can be level 3, but it can be level 2 as well. That's why the final build is you have level 3 of Thirst and then level 2 of Adrenaline when you have the 5-5-5-5-5-2. So this would be the final engraving that I would have. People might disagree on this Cursed Doll, but the reason why I have Cursed Doll is because I have legendary Cursed Doll, but this would be Raid Captain. That would be much safer bet. This is the build that I want. If you decide on the build that you want, now the fun part begins, right? I can leave now. Here comes the building tips. Whatever you do, you always carve stones first. You can buy whatever accessories you want, but you can't carve a stone that you want. If you carve an expensive stone, your accessories drop in price. If you carve a cheap stone, your accessories go increase in price. What am I going to do? My Adrenaline is going to be level 2. If my stone is a 7 on Adrenaline, I only need 3, because my goal of Adrenaline is level 2, right? So 3 and a 5, right? And a 3 and a 5, and a 3 and a 5, right? Like, this is what you do. And then my Thirst is going to be level 1, so it would be 5. And a 3. And then your math is wrong here, right? This is what you guys need to do. You guys need to, like, calculate it up. But if you guys have the stone, it'll be easier to calculate. Here's a trick for just Korea, though. Adrenaline accessory is actually not that expensive. How am I going to get level 2 Adrenaline? I can do 5-5 like this. How much is Adrenaline Cursed Doll? How much is Adrenaline Grudge? Let's figure that out. That's why this takes a lot of time. Look at that, 400 gold for an accessory. So what's the point of buying 1,000 gold stone if I can cover it with accessories. So my thoughts are going to be, I'm going to try to cover adrenaline on accessories, right? When you made that decision, you can carve Master of Ambush and Keen Bluntstone. You guys following the thought process so far? I will literally tell you everything how to build it. This is how you build it with the cheapest amount of money. Since I don't need adrenaline stone, this is the stone I'll be carving. And look how cheap it is. 35 gold. Cheap. Good tip on carving stone. The best tip on carving stone is this. I know everything's random, but think of it this way. You always aim for 9-7. If 9-7 fails, go for 7-7. If 7-7 fails, go for 7-5. Does this make sense? Oh, why? Why is that? Why is that the case? Check this out. If you're a 7, 3-5 is a 15. If you're a 5, 5-5 is 15. If you're a 9, 3-3 is 15. What if 7-5 fails? You don't use it. Because 7-5 is better than a 6-6. Because look at 6-6. How do you get to 15 with a 6-6? 3-3-3. Or 4-5. It feels weird. I'd even make that. Well, I don't know. Being lucky. Use higher percentage chance on more expensive engraving. This is important. Not a lot of people are doing this. You know, you still fail like a 75%, man, but still, it's statistics. Like you try your best on what you do, but you know, if luck is shitty, like, you know, at least you tried. Now let's just carve it. See what happens. See, look at that. See, if you're unlucky, you just failed the 75%. Easy peasy.
A few moments later.
So I can throw this out to the 45. So here's the thing. Now I'm trying to do the math here, because if you get the 9 here, 2 more chances to throw it out, right? 9-5 is the same as 7-7. Ooh. Okay, got it. 9-5. All right, boys. Now that I carved a 9-5 stone, but don't do it like me though, because you see my gold, right? All right, so check this out. Now, what do? This is step 3. This is step 3 of the process. Now I carved a stone 9-5-2. What do I need to make Keen Blunt level 3? 3-3, right? What do I need to make Master of Ambush 5? 5. And then like this is from like doing it like experience wise. This is 5-5. And then now I need Thirst. If I buy this right now, it will be 980 Swift, 953 Spec with 5-5-5 3-3-3-3-2-1. So I have it ready. I have it ready to go here. So I can double check the prices. I can double check if it's the right thing. Now, if I equip 2 of my books, this and this is complete. 3-3-3-3-2-1. And my stats are half-half. Half spec and half swiftness. So I would put my swiftness pet for 1139. Now we need to go tripods. I know what's the most important skill anyway for Reaper. It's this one. Every time I use a skill, it lowers the cooldown of every single skill. So it feels like to determine a tripod is important or not is you figure out what this thing does. If it impacts every single one of your skill, obviously that's important. Like your Wind's Whisper kind of thing, right? Okay, so why is this important, right? You notice I'm buying it per piece. You guys notice I'm buying it per area, right? So if I go like this, get all the equipment, I go to the tripod guy, copy, 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 paste, paste, paste. Done. See? It's that easy. So this concludes the build. It's complete. Engravings, tripods are complete. It's good enough. Tripods are good enough. And I have the gems at all level 5, and I'm done. You can pretty much have this until like 1475, until like Cuckoo. I can probably do Cuckoo too. Just need to like hone, that's it. But why is no one coming in? Because I'm a Reaper. No one wants to play with Reapers. Because all they do is die. Even if I have a BIS DPS set, they don't accept me. He refused. Oh, forgot to swap some pots. Thank you, man. I almost trolled. I almost got banned. I almost got kicked off the party. Oh! Ah! Ah! Reaper!